Welcome back to the Longarm Quilting Business Show. I'm Lindell from the Quilt Room in Melbourne, Australia, and today is part 3 of our 4-part troubleshooting series, When Things Go Wonky. So far, we've covered some tension troubles and skip stitches. Today, we're talking about another headache that seriously every quilter faces eventually, thread that keeps breaking or shredding mid-quilt. You're stitching along, everything's looking beautiful, and then all of a sudden, snap. Your thread breaks or starts to fray, and it keeps happening over and over. Let's dive into what can cause this thread shredding and how to get things running smoothly again. So here is my thread breaking troubleshooting checklist. And I have to admit, it's not that much different to the checklists from the last couple of episodes. Firstly, check your needle. A dull needle, a bent needle, this can be the number one culprit for breaking thread. So swap the needle out, try a different size if you've got one on hand. If you don't, order some and make sure you have a few different sizes of needles on hand. Go up a needle size if you're using thicker thread. Go down a needle size if you're using a thin thread. When you've got a day that you don't have a client quilt to tackle, it's a great idea to just have a play with a bunch of different size threads and needles and see what combination works the best. Write it down so that if this ever happens on a client quilt, you can actually refer back to it and think, maybe I was using the wrong size needle for that thread. Number 2 is, of course, to check your thread. Not all threads are created equal and not all are strong enough to use in a long arm. If the thread is old or cheap or brittle, it's likely to snap under the enormous tension of the long arm machine. If you can break it easily yourself just by pulling it, then I would never use it in my long arm. If you can, switch to a fresh spool or a trusted high quality thread to test if the thread itself is the issue. Next is to slow down your stitching speed. So speed can cause friction, friction can create heat, and heat can break thread. Try quilting a bit slower, especially when using specialist threads like metallic or decorative threads. Check for burrs and rough spots on your needle plate, your hook, or your bobbin case, or all of your tension discs. Run your fingernail gently around these areas, or use the thread to floss the machine like you would floss your teeth. If you feel anything catching, smooth it carefully with some fine emery paper designed for the job, or replace the damaged part. Thread path and tension settings can also be an issue. Make sure you rethread your machine. And in fact, this is probably the first thing I would do. I always rethread my machine, even if I can't see anything that's wrong. So completely rethread your machine. Make sure you've got the correct thread path and make sure that your top tension is not too tight. There are some other little tricks you can use. You can try a thread net if you've got a slippery or a metallic thread. You can buy a silicone-based thread lubricant to spray on the thread. That sometimes has helped me in the past. I've even tried putting threads in the freezer, which has helped. So, as I mentioned on the last episode, the weather can play havoc with your threads. So, quickly to recap, when your thread starts breaking or shredding mid-quilt, remember to check and replace the needle if need be. Assess your thread quality, slow down your stitching speed, check for burrs and rough spots on your machine, your tension discs, your needle plate, and the bobbin area. Rethread carefully and adjust the tension accordingly, and consider using a thread net or lubricant if you've got specialty threads. Next time, in our final troubleshooting episode, we'll be tackling wavy and wonky quilt tops, how to handle them, stabilise them, and talk to your clients about them. Don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss it. Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Longarm Quilting Business Show. Please subscribe to be notified about new episodes. And if you like what you hear, I'd love for you to leave a rating or a review. It does help others to find me. Here's to quilting smart and living well.